Today I will be talking about, is leisure considered a right or a privilege? In chapter 1, actually, we talked about what is leisure, and I would like to revisit this just for clarification purposes and just so we know what we are defining and what we are debating. So for leisure, we had three meanings. We said free time, recreational activity, and spirit. So for free time, we said time free from obligations. Recreational activity is non-work kinds of experiences, such as a sport, or spirit, a self-actualized attitude about life. So let's continue. First, let's talk about leisure as a privilege. When I think of leisure as a privilege, one of the first things that come to mind is vacations, and I tend to vacation to Disney World. So leisure as a privilege is looking through the lens or point of view that leisure is something you have to earn. The reason you have to earn this is you have to earn the money in order to go spend the time that you have experiencing what you want to experience. For example, it costs money to go to Disney World. I love photography, but it was very expensive to get myself a camera. Parasailing, it costs money to go parasailing. If that is your form of leisure, you have to pay to experience your own leisure. There are fees that go along with playing basketball, football, volleyball, being on the dance team, or being on the gymnastics team. Let's talk about access. Well, access to leisure requires time, space, and funding. Let's use the example volleyball. You have to build a volleyball court. That space does not just exist. Someone has to pay for the land, build the volleyball court, or pay someone to build the volleyball court, and that all requires funding. It requires the time to do so and the space to do so. Leisure as a right. Leisure in this way, in this lens, we think of leisure as time away from work. There are laws that require people to have time off of work. This may be days, or it may be your 15-minute break that is required by law. You cannot be turned away from your form of leisure due to your gender, your race, or your disability. These are discrimination laws. For example, let's say there is a girl that is blind. She cannot be turned down based off of her talent. Let's say she's very talented. She's a very talented swimmer. They cannot tell her, no, you can't go to the Olympics because you're blind. In fact, they have something called the Paralympics, where they can then compete against others with the same level of blindness. So, in my conclusion, based off of the experiences and the textbook readings I have done, along with the lesson 6 videos and other guided materials that were there, my definition or conclusion is leisure is very complicated. Everyone is entitled to the time it takes to experience leisure, but not everyone is entitled to the funding. The access that is required for leisure, although it is a right, it is not necessarily paid for, nor do others have to pay for it. For example, I love gymnastics, and I continued gymnastics throughout college by joining the circus. It costs money for me to be in the circus. It costs me a membership fee. I had to buy the shoes. I had to buy the wrist supports. I had to pay for $200 in makeup it required to be for stage lighting and for circus makeup that everyone has to have. I do not have the right for someone to pay for that for me. I did have the right to try out, but I was not guaranteed a spot in circus. My sister Hannah, however, she has special needs. She is currently in a day program, and one of the classes she can take is photography. In her day program, she has the right to access the materials. She has a right to access the information. Now, the funding, she actually has the right for funding there. She has funding from DHS because it is considered her school time. She is 21 years old, and this is her new school. The materials are provided by the program. Hannah does not have to go out and buy her own Canon camera. They will help her learn how to take photos. They will teach her how to do it in the best of her ability. However, if I were to go take a photography class, I would need to buy my own camera. I would need to pay for the class. And it would be my responsibility to learn the material and make it accessible to me. Rights and privilege crossover. Leisure is not black and white. Leisure is in the gray area. So leisure is not a right or a privilege. It's both. It's complicated.